Because of the non-linear chronology this series undertakes, there are games in it where it's hard to determine where exactly their place is, if there is a true chronology at all, and the split timeline doesn't help. Two of the games that fit this mold are The Legend of Zelda: Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. These games actually were not designed directly by Nintendo, but by Capcom under Nintendo's oversight. I'm mentioning both of them because they can be called twin games. They were both released for the Game Boy Color system on the same day in 2001 and are basically complementary to one another. However, calling them the same game is far from accurate. There are similarities in the basic premise of both games, but I give the game designers credit for creating enough differences in each storyline to differentiate them while at the same time intertwining them. More on that later. Both games involve the Triforce sending Link to another land where Impa is trying to find a mysterious girl and escort her to Hyrule because she's actually a secret oracle that an evil force is hunting. When said force captures the girl, Link must enlist the help of the resident Meiku tree to help rescue her. Now for the differences. In Oracle of Ages, you end up in the land of Labrynna, where Impa is looking for the songstress Nehru, who is actually the oracle that controls time. However, Impa was possessed by the witch Veron, who then possesses Nehru and uses her powers to go back in time and screw things up like Biff Tannen did in Back to the Future Part 2. It mainly involves manipulating the Good Queen into building a dark tower, driving the people into sorrow, and killing the female Meiku tree. Once you save the tree in the past, you must travel between the past and the present, much like in Ocarina of Time, to find the 8 essences of time that will allow the tree to produce a seed that breaks the Dark Tower's spell. At the same time, you must free Nehru from Veron, only to have Veron possess the Queen as a result. In Oracle of Seasons, you're taken to the land of Holodrum and found by a dancer named Din, who is actually the oracle that controls the forces of nature and thus the seasons. However, she is captured and imprisoned by General Onyx, which causes havoc on the seasons in Holodrum. In this game, you must find the essences of nature, after which the male Meiku tree can help you enter Onyx's castle. So yeah, the main objectives are similar, but the stories have enough difference. Each game specialized in one of the two basics of gameplay that Zelda games are known for. If you like the monster fighting action, Oracle of Seasons is your best choice. If you prefer Zelda's puzzle solving, you're better off with Oracle of Ages. The land of Holodrum is much larger than Labrynna, and there's also an underground land called Subrosia to explore. However, some believe that Oracle of Ages may give you more land to explore, since it involves traversing Labrynna in different time periods. The gameplay is essentially the same as Link's Awakening, as you collect your weapons and treasures and interchange them with both the A and B buttons. The obvious difference in these games and Awakening is implementing the full-color graphics of the Game Boy Color console. This becomes crucial when dealing with some of the puzzles, especially in Oracle of Ages. One new aspect is also finding different rings that can boost abilities like your attack, defense, and many of your special weapons. After collecting the 8 essences and beating either Veron or Onyx at the end of either game, everything seems to be back to normal, but it turns out the evil you just beat was actually under the command of Twinrova? The bickering witch sisters from Ocarina of Time who were helpful side characters in Majora's Mask? And that's how the game ends? But when you restart that same game, you get a password that you can input into the other game. This leads to numerous bonuses like transporting items from one game to the other, but the real incentive is seeing the true climax at the end of the second game you finish. Yeah, it turns out Twin Rova was commanding both Onyx and Varan to capture both oracles and Princess Zelda to summon the flames of sorrow, destruction, and despair that will revive, who else? Ganon! You know, Nintendo's always been big on luring its customers to buy as many of their games and components as possible, but this is pretty damn genius to get kids to go after two games that look like they might be the same on the outside. It's actually a pretty clever way of making the games two standalone adventures that are actually still connected in some way. So you have to beat Twin Rova in a manner that's similar to beating them in Ocarina, only to have a weakened form of Ganon come back at the end. So Ganon is destroyed again, the flames are extinguished, the three lands are safe, and oh, guess what? Link's got Nehru, Din, and Zelda fawning over him. Yeah, I keep coming back to this. Link is the biggest chick magnet in all of video games. Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons were actually a lot more creative than I thought they might be coming into this, especially given that a third party had control of one of Nintendo's flagship titles. The graphics showed off the new console's abilities well, and it might be underappreciated now how the two games were designed to connect with one another. However, the game's placement within the timeline is tricky, since there's no direct connection to any other previous game. One could theorize they're not even in canon, since Nintendo didn't design them. Some people have also suggested that these games were the first proof of separate timelines, and that these adventures take place simultaneously in alternate dimensions. But anyone who suggests that probably hasn't played both to full completion. The full storyline definitely leans more toward occurring consecutively in the same timeline. My personal theory would place this sometime following the adventure of Link, given that Ganon is destroyed in the game's beginning and the full Triforce is present in Hyrule but is not linked together, suggesting this occurs after they were split and Courage was hidden only to be recovered. So yeah, for now we still don't have actual confirmation that there is in fact a split timeline. However, that will change with the next installment when the series goes on a completely new and slightly darker tangent.